welcome to a quick and easy tutorial on Adobe Illustrator CC 2015. Now, in this tutorial, I'm assuming you have never used Illustrator before, and you want to jump in and start making things. So we're just going to have a quick overview of some of the main tools, features, yada yada yada, and we are going to make something like this. So nothing crazy, just quick and easy pencil on a thing. Let's get started. So go ahead and open up Illustrator. And when it does, it'll open up into something kind of like this, with a dialog box that says, create new features, getting started, tips and techniques. Now, I rarely use this other stuff. Feel free to browse around, kind of look at stuff. And Illustrator always looks really weird when you open it up because it's very like erector set kind of thing going on here, where all these different panels can be moved around and changed, and you basically get to set them to the way you like them, which is actually extremely handy, but it can look really weird if you've never done it before. So to get started in Illustrator right off, I'm just going to exit out of this because normally you could open up an old file like the pencil that I have, but we're going to make our own. But I'm going to exit out, and great way to get started is just to go File, New. Now this will pop up, New Document. First off, top to bottom, you can name your document, so we will call it Pencil Excellent. Pixel Excellent. Okay, that's neat. Okay, so profile, print, completely fine. Number of artboards, we will start with the 1. Letter or size, and width, height, points. So this is actually pretty small, so what you can do, depending on what you're making, is you can change it to pixels, points, inches, and we are going to do 8.5 by 11, or let's go to pixels, which is that. Let's do 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. Okay, so down here, don't worry about the bleed right now. Orientation is up and down, but it's a square, so it doesn't matter. Color mode, CMYK or RGB. Now, you might be like, what's the difference? I don't know. Okay, so CMYK is mainly used for printing purposes, and RGB is mainly used for web purposes. So if it's going to be on a screen, on a computer screen, RGB is the way to go. CMYK is the way to go if you're going to print it. Awesome. Now, if you pick CMYK for print, raster effects. So for printing purposes on CMYK, set it to 300 ppi. The higher the ppi, the better the print will be. Now, if you set it to RGB, raster effects can be set to 72 ppi because your eyes cannot see anything higher than 72 on a screen. Standard sounds awesome. After this, we can click OK. When you click OK, this will pop up. This is our document we just created. Now, right off the bat, quick tip, hold Command minus on a Mac, and you can see this is the document. Zoom in, Command plus. Here is the hand tool that I'm using right now to move around, which you can just press H to get to that. So if you're on the pointer tool, which is your selection tool, nothing to select right now, but you click H, your hand tool, and if you want to go back to the pointer tool or your selection tool, you can click V. Back and forth, really easy. So you can navigate, then click on things. Cool. So first off, my Illustrator is already kind of set up the way I like it. So what yours is going to be a lot different. So your workspace might be automation, and it's pretty simple, but I'm going to keep it simple just so as I open up new things, yours will sort of look the same. Okay, so first off, top tool, the one we've already been playing with, selection tool. So if something's on the screen and you want to select it, there you go. You can select it with the selection tool. Very, very simple tool. Now, Command plus to zoom in, H for the hand tool to move a little bit, V for the selection tool. Quickly on the shape, you can see that there's these 4 corners and these dots in here. So these corners you can grab and actually scale the shape. Scale it down this way, make it a long rectangle. Scale it down this way, scale it up this way. Cool. So let's Command Z, back it up to the original square. So Command Z is to back up. Another tool. Quick tip. We want to scale this shape proportionally. We want it to stay a square and not a rectangle. So what you're going to do is scale it and hold Shift. Very, very simple. Scaling and holding Shift will do that. Now, another cool way to scale stuff is when you're scaling, when you're holding Shift, if you hold Option Shift while you're scaling on your keyboard, I think it's Control on a PC. So Option Shift scales it from the center. That's really neat. So Shift scales it, Option Shift scales it from the center, and that. Cool. Now, with your selection tool, if you hold Option, it will do this. See the two little pointers? Turns into two little pointers. Option, you can drag shapes out. Option, click, drag a shape out. Option, click, drag a shape out. Cool. So delete all these shapes. Awesome. So Option, click, drag a shape out. And we want to do this exactly again. Hit Command D. Wow. So that's neat. What just happened? So I did a movement. I said I want to duplicate this with Option, select, and move it down. Oh, I want it to be aligned. So Command Z, Option, select, move it down, hold Shift, or see it's moving back and forth. If you hold Shift while you move it down, it will stay in line or off to the side. So holding Shift will keep it in a path. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. And then if I press Command D, it'll do it again. Press Command D, it'll do it again. And if I do this, select all these shapes at once, hold Option, move it over, hold Shift, so it doesn't go off the path, and then hit Command D, I've just created like a bunch of these squares. That's really neat. What Illustrator is doing is it's remembering the fact that we held this and duplicated it right here. And we can hit Command D to repeat the action. Illustrator is smart enough to know to repeat that action, which is actually really helpful in some of your projects. So back to our selection tool, and we were moving the scale. See these dots? If you grab these dots, it will curve your thing, curve your edge. Next tool, the Direct Select tool right here. So this is also, I think that's Magic Wand. A on your keyboard goes to Direct Select. So Direct Select's pretty cool. So you can actually grab these points and actually move them around. It's direct selecting something. Move this point, move this point, move this point, move this point. Looking crazy. Or select one side of something and move it. Really neat tool. So if you just want to do one edge, you take your Direct Select tool and you just grab one with your Direct Select, because the selection tool will grab all four at once, and your Direct Select will grab one, which is pretty neat. Cool. That's a small overview of Direct Select. This is your magic wand, and what it does is just selects a color or something like that. So if you have 4 squares on here, or what was that, 5, and each one of these squares right here are green, and this square is orange, and to change the colors, it's right here. You can drop down, change the color, and you need to select everything that is green. This selects everything that is green. You need to select everything that is orange, select everything that is orange. Very, very simple. Your magic wand. Next tool, Lasso Tool. Cool. So the Lasso Tool is, I can circle this and it selects it. So if you have multiple shapes all over the place and you only want to select this one, 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 and this one, you just magic lasso around these bad boys and you've only selected these. Instead of doing this which is, it's almost impossible just to get these, because you got that one, you don't want to get this one. Magic Lasso, you can just quickly draw around these and it'll select them. Cool. Keep our middle. Now this is the pen tool. The pen tool could have a whole tutorial on its own, but basically you can quickly like draw out shapes. So clicking and dragging, then connecting it creates a shape. We will change the color. Another way to change color is double clicking on this white right here and actually changing it. Oop, now it's red. And the pen tool can also be used for straight lines. So do this, straight, 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 straight. Boom. Super cool. And yet again, if we do the direct select tool, click on an edge, you can curve it. How cool is that? Quick and easy. Okay, delete these. The pen tool is actually really complicated. You can do some really fancy stuff with it, but that's the gist of it for this. Now this is also like the pen tool, but you can do stuff like this, and it makes a very unique shape really quick. It goes out and it curves stuff. See, ooh. Just by playing around with it, you'll understand it more. Cool. Now back to the pen tool, because these are very similar. If you have an object like this with your pen tool, you hold down on the pen tool. There's add anchor point and delete anchor point. So these little dots are anchor points. Now it's pretty straightforward. If you add an anchor point, it adds one. I'm adding these anchor points. Let me zoom in so you can see what's going on. So now the shape has a bunch of new anchor points. Now with the delete anchor point, you can go in here and actually delete anchor points, which is getting rid of these curves, getting rid of these little anchor points. We keep our shape selected. We can see we can delete these anchor points. How cool is that? Anchor point gone. Cool. Quick overview of the pen tool. Next is the T for text. So drag out a box with the text tool, and there should be some stuff. Hello. Right here, you can change your font. Open sans. It's ugly. This channel looks crazy. Not pretty, but crazy. Increase the font size. Change it to regular or whatever it would be. This one only has one. You can say bold or italics. You can click on character to actually change properties of the font. So there's more size. There is this that stretches the letters out. This that makes them taller. All caps, lower caps. I should probably change the font so you can actually see that working. Arial's a great one. Let's do, right now it's set to all caps. Turn it off. Hello. So if we click character, all caps, none on, small caps on top. So play with these settings, make some cool stuff. That is how you create text inside of Illustrator. Delete that. Next is our line tool. So create a line, drag out, create a line, drag out, create a line, drag out, create a line. Then you can click on this line and add a stroke. Stroke, weight, up, 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 up. The stroke is on it now. Cool. If we select this, we can change the stroke color. So drop down on the path color and just change it. There you go. Cool. Now there's other lines in here that we created. We need to delete. I think that's all of them. Awesome. Next tool is the shape tool, which we've been using. There's rectangle, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse, polygon. What I'm doing is holding down on this to drop it out and change them. So let's do a star, drag a star out. That's neat. Change the star color to red. Now drag a polygon out, drag the polygon. But let's say I didn't see a triangle in here. I need a triangle. I see ellipse, rectangle, rounded rectangle tool. We need a triangle. So what you do is just grab the polygon. You drag the polygon out, and you can click down on your down arrow to remove sides, or up on the up arrows to add sides. Simple as that. Quickly make shapes. Then you have your paintbrush, which you can go in here and actually paint. And this is basically a shape within itself. So click on this. Right now it's a stroke with a line. Turn the stroke up. It's a big fat line. Cool way to do. You can paint stuff. Next is the pencil. Yet again, you can draw out. It's a stroke on a line. Kind of the same concept as the paintbrush, but very different in their own respects. Inside of these, there are tools and features, but they're a little more in depth. Right now, we're going to skip that. So if we paint something with the paintbrush and use this tool, this is the eraser. So boom, 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 boom. Erasing pieces. That is how the eraser works. The eraser should even erase some of our square, so that also works. And it's two separate shapes now. Cool. That is the eraser. This is the rotate tool, scale tool, width tool, free transform, perspective, mesh, gradient, eyedropper, blend. But I mean, I just wanted to quickly go over these tools because they are the main focus of Illustrator, I think. I mean, granted, these other ones are very helpful. So like if you want to add a gradient to an object, gradient, just like that. So double click this, go in here, you can add a gradient to your stuff, which this one is set to linear. You can do a radial gradient. Click on these little boxes to change their color. It's all black and white right now. Quickly change that here. Click the color. Now it's back to color. We'll change this to yellow. Then in here you can actually change the gradient to move over here, move it, grab this to make it smaller, grab this to make it larger. And it's all freaked out now, but there's a gradient. Then something like the eyedropper tool. Oop, it's got the gradient on it. Change this to a solid. The eyedropper tool we have this shape selected. You grab the eyedropper tool and click this, and it immediately copies the color. So if this was, red, you had this, and you click I on your keyboard for the eyedropper tool, you click red, and it changes it to red. Very simple. But yeah, those are a lot of the tools really quickly. More important ones that you'll use most often. So yeah, now it's time to actually apply these tools and make our pencil. And just so you can see the example from before, so you haven't forgotten, we're making this, a pencil. So there's a shaft, some triangles, a little thing, and some circles. Not complicated at all, really. So first we're going to make a rectangle about like this. Now color's not too important right now, so we won't worry about it, but there is certainly a stroke on it, you can see, and it's red. So what we're going to do is Option and move it out. Hold Shift so it doesn't move up or down, just stays right here, and move it out right there. Cool. Then we will scale this down. And now you see why I taught you all these things. And Command plus to zoom in, move it over holding Shift right there. Now grab this, hold Option to duplicate it out, and move it right here. Oh, forgot to hold Shift. Move it over, hold Shift, and move it right here. So we have the makings of our pencil. Cool. Next, what we want to do is actually pick the colors and get rid of the stroke for these. So what we can do really quick is click on this one, and up here at the top we can drop down on the stroke and click this, none. Changes the stroke to none. Then we can highlight both of these and click I for the eyedropper and click on this. It'll just get rid of our stroke. Now we can see there's little bit gaps between these, so Command plus to zoom in a lot. We don't want gaps, so we're going to move this over till it's touching, and then move this one over until it's touching. Zoom back out. Now it looks like a solid that we forgot to hold shift. So zoom back in, move this over until it's touching, move this over until it's touching. Almost. Perfect, that works fine. Cool, now it looks like a solid shape, but it's not. So this is our middle piece. We are going to pick some kind of pencil color, I guess. It's like pencils are yellowish orange, and right here. Now to get this effect, right here, it's light, medium color, dark. So we're assuming that the lighting is coming from over here. So it's going to be brighter on this side and darker on this side. Thinking about that, what would this look like in the real world? What we can do is click this shape, use an eyedropper to get this color, then click on this shape and use an eyedropper to get this color. So, oops, don't need that. We will click this shape, double click this color right here, which is this color, double click, this box pops up, and we will move it to a lighter color. Now click on this one, double click this box, and move it down to a darker color. Now we have that pencil-y outside exposed effect. And it's kind of fat right now, so if we select it all and actually grab the edge and move it down or move it in, thins it up a little bit, looks pretty good. Now we need to create the points. So what I'm going to do is use the pen tool right here, and we're going to start on this edge and go up, click here, then go up to about right here, click down here, click right here, and click right here. And that's our first point on our pencil. So we'll click this, and we'll actually double click and change the color to a very light, like this. Cool. Now we need to create the other edges. So grab our pen tool. We can start really in any corner. Click here, click here, click here. Follow up to this point, and it'll actually snap to it. Snap to this point, and then click back to here. Nice. Now click the pen tool again, and we will create the other points. Move up, and here. Awesome. All the same color. So click this, double click this, make it even lighter. Click this, double click this, move it down, make it a little darker. Now we have the top of our pencil. It's already looking really good. So now zoom in with Command plus. We need to make the actual graphite or lead end. So we'll take the pen tool again, start at this point, move it down here, here, and here, and here. Cool. Now it's not completely done yet, so double click this, move it to gray. Okay, it's not completely done. It looks like it, but we can add a little more detail. So zoom in really close to this, and because Illustrator is vector based, it never gets pixelated as you zoom in. Number one, we can see some errors. So right here, this is not perfectly aligned. Zoom in more, use the hand tool to move over. You see that it's not perfectly aligned. So what we can do is use the direct select tool, click on direct select, hover over this point and move it over. Now it's perfect. Use the hand tool to move over to this side, use direct select tool to grab this and move it over. Now it's perfect. Awesome. So zoom back out and go up. There you go. Number two, grab the pen tool again, click here, then click here, then click here, which we're going to have to fix that in a second with the direct select tool. Click here, and then go back up to here. Now double click your color, make it even darker. Cool. Now grab your direct select tool, grab this little point on this shape, and align it with that one. Perfect. Now grab this point on this shape, and align it to this line on this one. Perfect. Now grab your pen tool again, grab here, grab here. It's all snapping near these points, really easy. Click the pointer, click this shape, double click your color, make it a little lighter. Now you have a detailed graphite. If you zoom out, it's very subtle, but I mean, it looks good. So we have the top of our pencil. So for this tutorial, let's actually make this pencil a different color. Let's make it a blue pencil. And one of those blue and yellow pencils. Yeah, blue and yellow. So we can get a little darker right here. This color can be a brighter yellow. Bright yellow. Blue and yellow pencil. Sweet. Cool. Now we need that like weird lead looking stroke. So what we're going to do is actually go to our layer panel right here. As we can see, a layer has been created. Now layers in Illustrator are extremely important, extremely useful and functional. So if we use this drop down, you can see all the different shapes we created. Now we can use this button right here to select any one of these shapes, or you can select them all at once. So bop, bop, hold shift to select more than one and move the shapes around. This is the hide on and off for the eye, so you can actually go like this, just click and hold and go up and down, and it turns them all on and off. Or you can shift click them all on and off at once. Oh, that didn't work actually, so yeah, there you go. Cool. So what we want to do is actually group this. So we will highlight this object, group. Now it's a group, so if we select it, we can move it around as one object. Cool. Next step, zoom in, grab the pen tool. Now click here, click here. Oh, nope. Click here. Give it a little bit of a curve, even bigger of a curve, right here. Now click V and click off. It looks really weird right now, but what we need to do is actually, on the path, get rid of the fill, turn it off, and turn the stroke back on with a color. So click a really dark gray, you know, what a pen would be. So click on it. You can take your stroke and actually make it larger. But right now it does not look like a pencil stroke. It just looks like a crappy fake stroke. We need it to look real. So we can actually click on these options right here for the stroke. Right now it's uniform. We can drop these down to any weird shape. So this one's like starts off thin, goes thick. This one goes thin to thin, which looks pretty good for something like this. So that, and this curve is looking kind of weird. So we'll do the direct select. Grab this point and move it over. That looks a lot better. Not amazing. We can actually do a little better, I think. We grab this point, move it up. This is fine. We'll do this. Can't be too choosy. So click this. And then another setting in your stroke. Right now it's set to basic with this. If you drop down on this, you can go to this little effect right here. It's always built in, which is like a charcoal-y look. And voila, you have a pencil-y looking stroke. Neato. Now we need that circle we saw. So what we're going to do is actually make our artboard a little bigger. We will click this button. It's called Artboard Tool, which does this, and you can actually drag your artboard to be bigger. Now it's this really huge thing that we can really work with. So bam, artboard has gotten larger. So what we're going to do is actually create a new layer, because we're kind of done with this. We don't need to edit this anymore. And I'll tell you why we need it on a different layer soon. So click a new layer down here, create new layer, and on top we are going to make a circle, an ellipse. So hold this, Option Shift, make an ellipse. It has covered up our image. What we want to do is actually turn off the fill, keep the stroke turned on. Let's make it a cool color like this orange, and yank the stroke up a lot. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. It's huge. Cool. Now we will scale it with Option Shift to scale it down in the center. Almost. Pretty good, pretty good. Except for the fact that it's covering up our pencil. So Option Shift, move it out some, move it up some. Right here, cool. So we've selected it, moved it up, scaled it, awesome. Now we want to fill this background in. So this is covering this pencil up because it's a layer. See? This shape is covering it up right here. The layer is on top. It's just like stacking papers on top of each other. So like a nice little organized collage. So what we're going to do now is actually click on this layer, and we are going to drag it down to here to duplicate it. There is layer 2 copy, and what we're going to do is drag it to the bottom of the composition. Select your layer once you put it to the bottom, and what we'll do is actually take the stroke and turn it off, and take the fill and turn it on. Crazy. We have filled this with something white. Actually doesn't look half bad. So we'll just leave it just off-white. And then we will select all of these at once, holding Shift by selecting them all, and move it around. And there you go. You have your original right here. You have your new one right here. Yeah, that's about it. So that was a quick overview of Illustrator and how to make something like this really quickly. We've been doing this for a while, but this is kind of like 2-part tutorial. Part 1 is just quick overview, and part 2 is actually making something. So dive in. There will be more tutorials soon. But if you liked it, please like and subscribe. I also do Premiere and After Effects and all the other tutorials. I have some posted right now, but other stuff is coming out. So thanks, guys, and till next time.